Hello everyone and welcome to another video by HigherPowers.net. My name is Joshua Brown and today we are starting a new series on career development. Today we're talking about pharmacy technician certification, also the exam process and what that all looks like. So before we get started, we want to kind of set a little bit of a foundation on some things that you'll want to be clear on before you start this process of becoming a pharmacy technician and the certification process itself. So the first thing that you want to do is check with your specific state's State Board of Pharmacy. And you're going to want to check for a few different things. The first thing is what certification they accept, okay? Because there's two certifying agencies, which we'll get into a little bit later, and you want to know the difference because some states will accept one and not the other. Some states will accept both, but you want to make sure before you get started in the whole process because you could do a lot of hard work for nothing. All right, so we want to be clear on that. The second is the difference between a pharmacy technician license and a pharmacy technician certification. Not all states are going to require that you get a license to work as a pharmacy technician. But usually there is going to be some process to get your certification. Okay, so it's two separate things. So again, through the website, and again, all this information is going to be on our website, higherpowers.net/pharmacy-technician. You can find all this information and more there. Okay, and it has links to State Board of Pharmacy information. So you're going to want to look up, okay, what certification do they accept? And also, secondly, what is the process, if any, to get a pharmacy technician license to practice as a pharmacy technician? So I want to make sure that you have that information down. Okay, so now we can get into the actual certification process. So as I mentioned, there are two different types, two different companies, two different organizations that provide a pharmacy technician certification. The first is the PTCB, and that stands for the Pharmacy Technician Certification Board. All right, so they've been in the business a little bit longer than their competitor, so they're a little bit more widely accepted. I found looking through the different State Board of Pharmacy information. All right, the second organization is called the NHA, which is the National Health Career Association. All right, so they've been, I believe they were rebranded sometime in the 90s, early 2000s possibly, but this is relatively new to the game, so and not as many states are going to accept that certification. But one thing that they do have in common, we want to go through a couple of the things that they have in common, and then we're going to break down the differences as we go along here. So the one thing they do have in common is that they are both accredited nationally by the NCCA. That's the National Commission for Certifying Agencies. Okay, the other similarity is that they both require that you recertify your certification every 2 years, and the fee is the same for that, $40 for both organizations. Okay, so those really are two of the main similarities, the things that they share, but what are really important are the differences. So first we want to break down the PTCB, okay, what the differences are there. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about is the actual exam name for the PTCB. The exam name is PTCE, so the Pharmacy Technician Certification Exam. The exam cost is $129. Okay, and the eligibility, you must have either a high school diploma or a GED, and you must disclose all criminal and State Board of Pharmacy registration or licensure actions. Okay, so a little bit, the PTCB is a little bit more stringent on, maybe legal matters that you are involved in. So it's always a good idea to try and clear that up if things have happened in your past, before you're 18. See if you can get things taken care of, taken off your record, because it is something that they're going to look at. Okay. So again, some information on one of the larger organizations of the two, the PTCB. Now we'll look at the NHA, the National Health Career Association, what their certification process looks like. So their exam name is the ExCPT. All right, the exam cost is $115. And again, that needs to be recertified every 2 years. Now, this is one of the main differences And this may determine if you have you live in a state where you can have either or certification. This is something that you're going to want to think about. So the NHA requirements starts off the same, high school diploma or GED required. And then it has some additional requirements for you to sit for the exam. So the first is you must complete some type of training program or have supervised work experience, okay, to sit for the exam. So the training program needs to come through an accredited school, so it can be one of those technical schools, or it can come through a formal training program through the United States military. I also know some of the nationwide chains. I'm not sure if they have specific training programs, but if they do have a formal training program that is recognized by that state board of pharmacy, that would also count. And then there's just the straight work experience. So 1,200 hours of supervised pharmacy-related work, you'd be able to sit for that. And then, of course, the pharmacy there, management would have to sign off for your information. Okay, so that really sums up the main differences between the PTCB and the NHA. So again, one of the reasons that the PTCB is also more popular, obviously, is because of the additional requirements that are brought on by the NHA. So if you aren't someone who has that experience yet, or doesn't want to pay for a training program, which at some technical schools can be in the $15,000 to $30,000 range or more, depending on what state you live in, then the PTCB and the PTCE, their exam, looks a lot more enticing. You can self-study for it, sit for the exam, pass it theoretically without having actually worked as a pharmacy technician. So obviously, that's a big draw for some. Now, the drawback to that would obviously be, you go through that process of buying books, study materials, sitting for the exam, and without that work experience, you may not have or even an internship through a training program, not just work experience. But with the PTCB, you don't have any work experience. It may be much more difficult to find a job. Okay, now we can take a look at the actual exam content and review that and give you a little bit more information. The one great thing about both of these organizations is that they provide a lot of upfront and free information, as well as some paid information that helps you prepare for each of the tests. So let's go ahead and get started with the PTCE. All right, so the PTCE is 90 questions. It's 2 hours long. Of the 90 questions, 80 of them are graded, and then a score is calculated based on how well you do on those 80 questions. So there's a scaled score system with the PTCE. And your scores fall between 1,000 and 1,600. 1,400 and higher is a passing score. All right, so the actual exam is broken down into 9 different parts. And those parts are as follows. Pharmacology for technicians, pharmacy law and regulations, sterile and non-sterile compounding, medication safety, pharmacy quality assurance, medication order entry and fill process, pharmacy inventory management, pharmacy billing and reimbursement, pharmacy information system usage and application. Okay. Now we want to break it down even further for one of these topics, and again, all of this information, all 9 topics are broken down in detail on our website, higherpowers.net/pharmacy-technician. So we break down the first section, pharmacology for technicians. Now, 13.75% of the PTCE is made up of questions that are going to be in this category. So we break it down and it covers the following topics. So pharmacology for technicians, generic and brand names of pharmaceuticals, therapeutic equivalents, drug interactions, for example, drug disease, drug dietary supplement, drug OTC, drug laboratory, drug nutrient, strengths, dosage forms, physical appearance, routes of administration, and duration of drug therapy, common and severe side or adverse effects, allergies and therapeutic contradictions associated with medications, dosage and indication of legend, OTC medications, herbal and dietary supplements. Okay. I know I butchered some of those words in there. I apologize. But so you get an idea of they put out a lot of information. And while they don't give you specific questions, there is that, the breakdown of each of those topics. And again, all 9 sections are broken down on our website. They also have some additional resources. The company that you actually take the test with is called Pearson VUE. And they have a couple different things. There's a sample test that you can buy. It's $29. It's directly through their website. There's a link on my site. And you can take the practice exam. There's also just an overview tutorial of what the process actually is. They don't give you any pharmacy technician questions, but you can familiarize yourself with it. And then there's just there's a dosage calculation app that is available through the PTCB. And again, just some other third-party published types of materials, study materials, things of that nature. Again, all available on the website. So now we can switch gears and go to the NHA. Their test is, again, called the ExCPT, and we'll go ahead and break that down. All right. So the way that they break theirs down is a little bit different. It's in smaller main categories and then a lot of little categories. So the 3 main categories for this exam are regulations and pharmacy duties, drugs and drug therapy, and the dispensing process. Okay. So if we break down the regulations and pharmacy duties, these are just 7 main points. There are over 3 different subcategories just in the regulations and pharmacy duties alone. This section makes up 34% of the ExCPT. And again, this is all available through the website. It's directly from information available on the NHA website, as is the prior information for the PTCE exam available through the PTCB website directly. So this is all information that they put out saying this is what our exam contains. This is the information that you're going to want to be looking for. So again, if we break down the regulations and pharmacy duties section, the first subsection is overview of technician duties and general information. And there's some bullet points here. Ensure all work performed by the technician is checked by the pharmacist. Identify medication, prescribing, and or use patterns requiring pharmacist intervention. Differentiate between tasks that may be performed by a pharmacy technician and those that must be performed by a pharmacist. Comply with rules and regulations when filling prescriptions. Follow policies and procedures with regard to pharmacy workflow. Maintain a clean work environment in the pharmacy and patient care areas. Maintain pharmacy security by following proper procedures, alarms, personnel admitted, restricted areas. Okay. And again, all of these different subsections are broken down through the website. And again, it's all information that the company itself puts out, the NHA. Okay, so that was just a little bit of information about the certification process, what some of the exams look like, what you can expect, the types of things that you're going to want to study for. I think the main takeaway that I would want for anybody who is looking to become a pharmacy technician, who wants to get in the field or has questions about the certification process, is to always start with your own state board of pharmacy. You want to make sure that you know more information. Let's say you're trying to go into a training program, a technical school. They're going to charge you $20,000. You need to do your homework and make sure that the information they are going to be studying or have you to study is the same information that's going to help you pass the test. That's going to help you to become a better pharmacy technician. What types of training programs do they have? What types of connections in the community to pharmacies do they have? Okay, another point of contact that you will want to make is to go to jobs and locations where you'd like to work. If you have a pharmacy, if you're like me, you used to have at least a Walgreens on every corner. Do you want to work at a chain pharmacy? Is there a local pharmacy? Do you want to do compounding? Not work in a traditional pharmacy setting. You want to work in a hospital. Okay, what are those types of places looking for? And then you can kind of work backwards, knowing what the employer wants, knowing what your state requires. So those 2 things are going to help And I just hate to see anybody, go into a training program not, with their eyes closed. We want to go in knowing all the information you possibly can so you can make the best choices. So I appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions about pharmacy technician, resumes, anything like that, please leave a comment, like and subscribe to our page. I plan on doing many more videos on pharmacy technician. It's something that I've helped people with, I'm passionate about, and really just the whole career development aspect of this. So again, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll get to them as soon as I can. Have a great rest of your day.